Right, if you want to train with me, guys, 30th of November 2024, Richmond, USA, Detroit, Michigan. Stuff is below. Let's do the video. Right, everyone, my name's Anthony Cummins and I'm an author and researcher, and I'm trying to rethink the way we are looking at Japanese swordsmanship. Now, I've been told that people didn't like my Crocs. I am a big advocate of Crocs. They're the greatest thing since sliced bread. So have a go at the Crocs, there you go. Right, swordsmanship. This video is mainly for my followers who know where I'm up to, but I've been talking to Neil Hurst, one of the guys I put on my videos here, he's a karate guy, and we're talking about stances. Now, I genuinely believe stances in the martial arts have been modernised, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't know where I am in this research. We're not fully there, and we're not fully here. I'm in a middle point, so I'm making this video just for your opinion. So make sure, guys, you put your opinions down below. Now, we've all seen it. We all know karate stances, yeah? Bang, yeah, we do it. And we've got this very much, this tram line. We've all been taught to go on the tram lines. We've been taught it's here, and we've been taught, you know, to move in this very specific way. And especially, this also happens with swordsmanship. You see every book on swordsmanship, back straight, like this. You then, you know, you go through the motions and you move. Yep, we do everything in a specific way. We pull them out and we come up and we then have this very 45-degree angle. But myself and others in the background have been researching the stances of old samurai stuff, and it seems almost a little bit more like fencing. Now, we have to remember there's a couple of things we have to be careful here. We know that swordsmanship changes around the year 1600. It starts to rapidly change. But the other thing is, we have no evidence of how swordsmanship was before this change. None. We have none. And we know all the Koryu schools, or we know to a certain extent, you know, to a realistic thing, that the Koryu schools changed. Each and every one changed as they went along. And there's so much evidence for this that it's now becoming overwhelming to where I can say we know that all of them changed. We know that the majority of them, the ones that have been investigated, have just changed dramatically. So from this research and from the people, it looks like instead of this, you know, typical swordsmanship, we know now that there's more of a side-on and maybe even a single-handed approach. So instead of this becomes this, and from this to a leaning forward, and this is especially Yagyu Ryu influence. But the reason I'm going with this is Yagyu Ryu is one of the oldest schools we have that has identifiable images to show you the stances and the descriptions of the records. So we've gone from this idea to more of a, we're moving in this almost Spanish-esque swordsmanship way, and instead of moving and cutting, so for example, you know, we move and cut, we tend to find the descriptions in older swordsmanship has a different movement between feet to then hands. Your hands move at a separate way to your feet. So, which is quite difficult to do because we're all used to going 1, 2, 3, 4. We're all used to this sort of way. But actually, it's become a sideways movement, a reliance on here, and almost that this changes as we move along. This, and we've got one quote that says it's so many percentages in the movement of your feet and so many percentages in the movement of your arms. So actually, it can be more of a, you know, brought in. The counter to this, which is a total counter, is that Miyamoto Musashi says keep your back straight and use the in-yo feet. So whenever you strike, he says move your feet to 1, 2, 1, 2. Never 1. So we have Musashi saying keep your back straight, keep it thin here. But they're not as diametrically opposed as you think. So we can in-yo steps doesn't mean 1, 2, 3. Not always. In-yo steps could be So you never, ever give it one. It's what Musashi is saying. It's always in yo, in yo, in yo. So that step is yo, and that is in. Left is yo, crocs. Right is in, crocs. So in yo, in. Oh, sorry. In yo, in yo. But I think it just means always double step. So what we're finding as well is instead of Jodan is left foot forward, Chudan is right foot forward, Gedan is right foot forward. I'm finding, especially as I say in Yagyu, we are going Jodan, Chudan, Gedan. Yep. And not only that, we might be crossing like this. So we get something called the stopping Jodan position. So here. Yep. So we've got movement, but might be like this. So it's about the eyes. It's called Seigan, and basically about where your eyes are looking and where it's pointing. So you might have Jodan, Chudan, Gedan. Yeah. So it might be a case of you being, when you come to be approached by someone, you thought originally we get this. It might actually now be more realistic to have that as Jodan, that as Chudan, that as Gedan. Yep. Of course, these are just the basic stances, and as I say, we're going with Yagyu because Yagyu is basically the oldest one where we can identify it. But we've also got, which is again another debate, is this one, which is the 1600s, early 1600s, maybe 1624 manual. And in that we have these types of stances. So this type of stance coming in, then the left type of stance. Yep. Also, we may have where you just come in from here and you step up. So basically, you will go. You give an opening. So the opening block come in. That's Japanese. Yeah. So we're coming here. Yeah. Open, block, cut. We've got the opposite to that, which is the opening here, and then you block and then cut in. We then have different stances where you come along and we go into this stance. So, and again, we've got this side on only. So the only 45 degrees I've seen at the minute is this. So it goes from like a Yagyu stance to a 45 degrees. You use this as a sort of rest, and you're like this. And then you might be clicking it off, click them up. Yep, all this sort of stuff. We have this, which becomes a Japanese, recorded by the Chinese. So we've got all this, guys. We're not going to stop running around so I don't get too out of breath. We've got all this. So the stance, but we also have other stances within Yagyu, which is, again, side on but here, side on but here. Then you get what's the only, not the only, but the major stance here. You use a switching step. So you use a switching step. Yep. But it's actually switch step and switch hands. Okay. So it's like, yeah, this way. So I'm finding that a few things here is that it might not be, and I'm not derailing everyone else. I just think what they have done is traditional, but it's changed over 400 years, where you get the, I move back, I come out. Because one of the earliest things we have for Bato Jutsu is about 1650 roughly, 1650 is a guess, but it ain't going to be much before that, because it's the Yamamoto Kansuke text, and this talks about the Koyo Gunkan in it, which is not published till about then. So basically we have this idea that Bato is this way round, taken out this way and comes in. So it could be because a lot of them wore it slung tachi. So tachi pushed down, across, back, there. So this is what he's saying, whereas the newer people started doing this. The older style was spin across, down, as opposed to spin out and down. That's because you used to wear it in a yin and yang position, aggressive, peaceful, aggressive, peaceful. I'm in a time of peace, I'm in a time of aggression, so I'm gonna go for you, yeah? So we're starting to get this feel, and we're starting to get the idea that the steps are a bit more fencing, especially when it comes to the short sword. When I've been studying the short sword recently from Shinjin Ryu, and you very much get this idea of clash, and we get this, and you know, this sort of stuff is coming in, and then click, and you go over. So somebody comes, you know, you can grab, click them on the side of the head, throw from a temple shot, yeah, all that type of stuff coming in. But it does feel like this is more realistic of samurai swordsmanship than the other one. Right, so just to round you up, guys, okay, it's instead of this and this, we're finding more and more in the document this. It's better side on becomes this. And we see that in a lot of Western manuals as well, this idea that we're coming in. And I was told once, I did, forgot his name, Errant Knight or something like that. And he made the most scathing video of me. You're just trying to sell books, you're an idiot. This was like 8 years ago. You bend over in a sword fight, no one would ever bend over. You know, leaning, it wouldn't be done. So I pulls out this document, oh that's exactly. Then you get Kuroda Sensei, who's dead now. No, he's literally leaned right over. And then, yeah. Now, it turns out after all these 8 years that guy who was having a right go at me, is probably the wrongest of wrong he's ever wrongly been. And I don't even know if he's a YouTuber anymore. He was big at the time though, he was quite big. So basically, so Mrs. has gone past, she gets vegetables from the garden. So what we're finding, guys, is that there's probably a lot more leaning forward. There's a lot less difference between Jodan, Chudan and Gedan. Yep. And there's more independent movement between hands and feet. That's not saying that you don't use, now I know a lot of you martial artists are going to go, you need them to be unified. I'm not saying they're not unified. I'm saying this gets you here on that centre line, but this creates the defence, the stab. It's not 1, 2, it's too much of a, they can see your rhythm. So it's, even though I've trained to do that all my life, it's now got to retrain to sort of get in. It says get in within a foot and then use your hands. And not only that, you've got to do 5 strikes as you hit. So if you hit once, you're then going to follow up with 5 strikes, which yes, I reckon you'll then start doing this. So that brings us into things like Katori, where they have their hands above you. I'm not saying they weren't the case, guys. I'm just saying we're getting a picture of early Edo period street fighting tends to be like this. And we're not finding these high Jodans, these postures until a bit later on. But that's only from one angle. There's lots and lots to discover yet, so let's try. Don't forget, I am in, you can come train with me. I'm running a seminar in Detroit Rock City in Michigan, basically Richmond, Michigan, on the 30th of November. The information will be below. Right guys, information below. Do join me for a 1-day seminar in America. Come out for a meal with me.